Hello and welcome back to Fallout 76. Today we're going to do a comparison between anti-armor and aristocrats, and the reason for that is that I get a lot of comments on my videos because I tend to use aristocrats weapons because that's just a prefix that I like, is that I should be using anti-armor because it will do more damage. So today we're going to put that to the test. So I'm going to be using two versions of three different weapons. We're going to have a low damage, a medium damage, and high damage just to see if that makes a difference in terms of how the two effects compare to each other. So for the low damage, we've got a minigun. I've got this anti-armor version, and you can see damage is pretty low. And then I have an aristocrats version. It is also under-leveled at level 35. I wanted to get that damage basically as low as I could get it. For our medium damage option, we have the Gatling gun. We have got an anti-armor. And it is also under-leveled. I have this at level 40. I wanted to bring that damage down a little bit just to kind of get into that medium range. And then I have an Aristocrats version. It is also level 40. And for the high damage option, we've got the Plasma Caster. I've got an anti-armor version. And I've got an Aristocrats version. Both of these are level 50. Now for the build, I've removed things that'll give me variable damage numbers, things like Tenderizer or Adrenaline. I didn't want anything like that. I wanted to basically get consistent damage numbers on a weapon. If I shoot with a particular weapon, I want to get the same damage numbers, over and over again. So I've kind of removed anything that would do variable, that would vary that up at all. But I do have all the heavy gunner perks, and I am using Stabilize. Now, during the test, I'll take that off to see if that makes a difference, because Stabilize does give you 45% armor penetration. So in theory, if you remove that, the value of anti-armor would actually go up, because I know a lot of people do use heavy guns outside of power armor. I will be using power armor, though. All right, so first we're going to test against this behemoth, and then I'm going to do a test against Earl, who should have much higher resistances. So I want to make sure I don't get headshots. I don't want weak point damage. Oh, and this is the anti-armor. This is the anti-armor variant that we're going to try first. So body shots looks like 16 is pretty consistent. Yeah, 16 is pretty consistent there. So switch to the aristocrats, and what does that do? 18. All right, so the aristocrats doing a little bit more damage. All right, next up we've got the anti-armor Gatling gun. He shouldn't be able to do much to me. So anti-armor Gatling gun, what's that, 91? Pretty consistent. All right, 91 every time. So if we switch over to the Aristocrats version of the Gatling gun, wow, that's actually a pretty good difference. We go from 91 to 103. So Aristocrats doing pretty good work there. All right, then we have the he seems very upset for some reason. We've got the anti-armor Plasma Caster. I want to make sure I do a body shot. So that's 214. Yeah, 214, pretty consistent. Nice thing is he has a lot of health, so I can shoot him a lot of times. So we're at 214 on that. So if we switch over to the Aristocrats, it goes from 241. All right, so it looks like the more damage a weapon does, the bigger the difference in terms of, let's see if I can get to a safe place where he can't quite hit me. The biggest difference, the more damage you do, it seems to give you a bigger margin, aristocrats over anti-armor. All right, so we're gonna take off Stabilize. We're gonna lose our armor penetration and see what that does in terms of what it does for anti-armor, actually. All right, so we're back with our anti-armor minigun. Let's make sure we hit the body, which is kind of hard. He's kind of close. Let's see, 13. So the damage is down, obviously, because we're getting less armor penetration from. So we got 13 there. And if we use Aristocrats here, let's see what that does. 15. Okay, so Aristocrats is still, even on the low end, Aristocrats is still doing more damage, even when we remove the armor penetration from the perk anyway. Let's try the Gatling gun and see if that holds true. So 73, I mean, you can definitely see Stabilize gives you a big benefit. I mean, we lost, 20 points of damage. So that was 73, we lost 20 points of damage on this weapon. So we had 73 on anti-armor and 83. Okay, so we still have a gap. It's a little smaller gap, but yeah, that's still more damage in favor of Aristocrats. Now we'll use anti-armor here, try and hit the, not the head, 172 there. And Aristocrats is 194. Okay, so yeah, even with no armor penetration perk, Aristocrats is still, at least on the Behemoth, is still out damaging him. But Earl will definitely have a lot more resistance, and maybe that will make a difference in favor of anti-armor. I actually don't know, but let me go launch a nuke and see what happens. So I'm in the mine, and I've put Stabilize back on, And I thought, well, I'm waiting for Earl, we'll test against Wendigos. So we're going to start off with this anti-armor minigun. We've got 3 Wendigos, so we can test all 3 different damage amounts. Hopefully. Wendigos are kind of a pain because they do stagger you quite a bit. But let's just see how we do against Wendigos. So let's see if I can... They're kind of small targets. So it looks like 21 damage with the anti-armor. And Aristocrats is 24 damage. So it looks like it is a little more damage with Aristocrats. At least with this particular gun. All right, next up we've got the Gatling gun. So we'll start off with anti-armor, and if I can hit a shot, looks like 115 with that. And Aristocrats, we are going to get staggered and, okay. Wasn't a yellow number, so yeah, 134. So definitely more with that as well. All right, next up we've got the last Wendigo. We'll start off with this anti-armor, there we go, anti-armor plasma caster. It was 241? 241, okay. So then we'll do with Aristocrats and see what that gets us. It's kind of hard. They lean in, so it's 302. Wow, 302. All right, so quite a big difference there between Aristocrats and anti-armor. All right, down we go. Now, because Earl has higher resistances than most regular wasteland creatures, I would assume that anti-armor will be... This is kind of the case. If it's going to be better, this would be the situation. Now, trying to hit him not in the head is what I want. I don't want the yellow numbers, so if I hit him, well, legs are good. 15 damage for anti-armor on the minigun. Let's see. We've got Aristocrats there. Let's see how we do there. 15 versus 17. So, Aristocrats still doing a little more damage there with the low damage option. All right, we're having some weirdness going on. I couldn't draw my weapon or anything. All right, so we've got 86. This is the anti-armor Gatling gun. And if we go to the Aristocrats Gatling gun, 96. So 86 to 96. So Aristocrat still is doing better there. Now I do have Stabilize equipped, which I don't think I said. I might have said and I forgot. I don't know. So now we've got the Plasma Caster. That's 200 damage with, maybe, 200 damage with anti-armor. These Wendigos make testing kind of a pain in the butt. All right, so now we've got Aristocrats, 225, so a little bit more damage. So yeah, let's take off Stabilized and try the round of weapons again here. All right, so we've got where'd he go? The minigun. So minigun is doing 12 damage, so a little bit less. A little bit less than it was doing with Stabilized. So let's see what we've got for the Aristocrats. See, Aristocrats is still outperforming even with that unequipped. All right, so now we've got the Gatling gun anti-armor. It is doing 69 damage. And the Aristocrats Gatling gun is doing 78 damage. All right. Then we've got the plasma. Wow, okay. We've got the Plasma Caster. Looks like 161 for anti-armor. And Aristocrats is 181. So in every single case, Aristocrats is outperforming anti-armor. So I've also tested against super mutants of various levels, Scorched and Snallygasters. Every single time, Aristocrats came out on top, no matter what conditions I put on it. Now that was just with heavy guns, of course. And that's one of the reasons I picked a range of damages, because using low to high damage, that should translate pretty well with other types of weapons, rifles and pistols anyway. So this did satisfy my curiosity. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit one of the buttons, and I hope you'll join me in the next one. Thank you very much.